Hello and welcome to this Huddersfield Town Talk Town special with myself, Stephen Downs, and as ever, he's Merry Christmas himself, Mr. Kane Hall. We spoke just before the festive season began, Kane. Did you have a nice Christmas day? Did you have a nice Boxing Day? Did you get what you wanted from the big jolly fella up in the sky?
Yeah, thanks, mate. Got loads of calls, so it tells you everything about my year that I've had.
Well, it sounds like you've had a bit of a year like Huddersfield Town, to be honest. All the players deserve coal, particularly before the summer started. We're going to get into 2024 as a whole, look back on the year. Obviously, it's only a couple of days now until 2025, when we'll be hoping it's a lot more positive in 2025 than 2024. I'll be asking Kane a few key questions which I've not stumbled on him before the podcast. But I will be asking those questions, and we'll obviously look back on the Burton and Stockport games, particularly. We've both been at the game today against Burton, but we'll just quickly look back on the Stockport game firstly, Kane. 1-0 victory over a very good team. You predicted a 1-0 win. You got the score wrong. I just want to add that, but you did predict the 1-0 win. A good scoreline, and I thought we both came away thinking it was a half decent performance.
Yeah, well, it was half decent. I mean, you go 1-0 up after 40 seconds, it ruins the game for everybody involved. So if Town went and lost that one, it would have been disappointing. If they went and drawn that one, it would have been disappointing. I thought Stockport were good value for what they brought. They probably just didn't get going forward. They made a couple of changes, which really surprised me, to be honest with you. I thought Odin Bailey in the first half were their best player.
Yeah.
I thought Lewis Bate was arguably the best players for the whole of the game, rather. So bringing them two off, I didn't really understand it, to be honest with you. Obviously, they're good. Got some cracking players going forward. I don't think either side made much of an opportunity to say, yeah, that's they were going to go and take this game. And I think obviously Stockport dominated with the ball, but didn't create the chances. Town didn't create the chances either. I think if it weren't for that deflected goal, I think it would have been scoreless.
Yeah, both teams did cancel each other out, although we did, there were chances on each side. One player that I thought was really impressive on the day was Brodie Spencer up against Barry. They did switch from one wing to another because he wasn't getting any joy against Spencer in the first half, and then the second half he came up against him again. Personally, Kane, I thought he was my man of the match coming out of the Stockport game. I thought probably Brodie's best ever game in a Town shirt.
Yeah, Brodie was good, but we expect him to be good. That's a level that Brodie's got himself to. Obviously added the interest in the summer. That's why he's got himself a new contract. His young players are full international as well. So you expect these things from him and to do it on a consistent level. And yeah, we're fantastic. Obviously got the cross for the goal, putting himself in good areas defensively. He's very, very strong. And yeah, we're fantastic for Town. What I would say in terms of the defensive performance for Huddersfield was that they stopped the options to come through the middle, and they made it hard for Stockport to try and find that pass and cut through the middle of Huddersfield and even go out wide. They cut the options off, they made it hard, and that's the important thing. And they got the win. Yes, Town were under a lot of pressure that second half, especially in the last 20. But at the end of the day, it's 3 points that Town got. And we're having this conversation with a few people about, what did you think the game was going to be like? Might have been happy with a draw. No, you're at home. Like, you've got to go. Everybody at that club wants to get promotion. You have to win at home, regardless who you play, whether it's Stockport, Birmingham, Wrexham, Wickham, Barnsley, Wigan, whoever, Burton. You have to win your games at home. So regardless of who it was up against, that game against Stockport, oh yeah, well they've spent big, they've got money and all that kind of stuff, or however you want to look at it, Town needed to win that game. And I wouldn't have been happy with anything else but a win. And that's what they got. And it was worth it.
Make sure you get your comments in, guys, for anything to do with Huddersfield Town. Obviously, today's performance or Stockport's performance, and then obviously we're going to talk about the January transfer window as well. I am going to tell you the 2 or 3 key questions that I'm going to ask Kane later on. So I want you to think of Town's worst performance of 2024, Town's best performance of 2024, and also either the most improved Town player across the year or Town's maybe best player across the year. So that's the 3 questions I'm going to ask Kane later on. Please get your comments down of what you think to those questions and how you'd answer them. In terms of the atmosphere, Kane, against Stockport, I thought it felt like a big game atmosphere. Obviously, Boxing Day brings in a heightened crowd, but I came away from the game thinking, yeah, that does stand out in a. There's not going to be many fixtures in this League One season where you think it's got that sort of atmosphere, and it did have a big game day sort of feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what was it, 21,000, 22,000 there as well,
Yeah,
which were huge. But the difference was, Steve, that goal early on, it got everyone going.
yeah,
I mean, you can compare it to a couple of days later, where today I didn't hear anything until the goal was scored. So that had a huge impact on the way things go in the stadium as well. If you're not performing, the fans are not going to be behind you. Whereas at Stockport, I felt as if obviously the goal went in early on, everyone's up for it, everyone's happy, they're buzzing, so they're going to get behind the team. And then the performance was okay as well. They were digging deep, they were doing what they needed to do. Not that I believe that Town should have had to dig deep at home, but they did what they needed to do, get themselves the 3 points, and the fans could see that. That's why they were behind them. Whereas today it was a bit like, what have I come to watch?
yeah,
Why would I get behind that? I mean, the
yeah,
show. Look, you get behind your team. I always would if I was in the stands, but it's hard to when it's poor. And the
it,
Stockport
it
game was a decent performance, Steve, as well.
yeah.
And the early goal, it sets you up for the rest of the game.
Hmm. It wasn't a sort of game that you felt that you needed to get up for because of the nature of where Stockport are in the league. I also think that they brought a big away following as well, which helped. They made a bit of noise. And overall, I came away and I thought that is all right. It might not be the best performance, but it was a great win to get on the board. You move through to today's game. I think everybody's turning up to the stadium today, whether you're a Burton fan or connected to Huddersfield Town, and you're thinking this is going to be a Town win. Unbeaten in so many games. I think it's 30-12 before the Burton game today. Burton have got the 6th worst defensive record in the league. They've got the worst attack in the league. They've only scored something like 13 goals all season. So all anybody could see came was a Town win, and from minute 1, well, minute 2 actually, Danny Ward goes off with what seemed like a bit of an horrendous injury. It just never felt anything like the Stockport game, did it?
It absolutely ruined the game. Ruined the game, ruined the flow of everything. And I thought Danny Ward actually had a decent game against Stockport, and obviously I'm not his biggest fan, but I actually thought he had a decent game
Yeah,
against Stockport, and you can tell that Danny Ward, and he knows what's expected of him out there, what kind of role he's got to do, what he needs to do, where he needs to be, and you can see that the difference when Ladapo came on. Ladapo didn't really know where to be, what to do, kind of thing, and I'll touch on that in a sec. But once you've got a key player going out of the game after 2 minutes, it changes everything, Steve. Like I mentioned,
yeah,
Ladapo has to come on, and your whole shape up front was completely gone. And I thought he arrived in the box actually at such a good time. Just his shot were a little bit poor. And I think 10, 15 minutes into the game, it'd have made the goalkeeper work. So he'd have been used to the ball a little bit more.
yeah,
But yeah, it's a shame for Danny, who, like I say, I thought had an improved performance last time out against Stockport. I thought he'd worked hard the last couple of games, but for him to get injured again, it made a glass.
Yeah, it's a shame for Danny because I think he has come back from an injury and you know he's got into a run of form where all right he's not scoring goals but he's making a bit of a um sort of having effect on the side in whatever way that he can. I mean, it's interesting. Somebody said after the game on Radio Leeds, one of the callers, and they made a comment of whenever like Lomvite's got the ball on the left side, Danny would make the run onto the left wing, which would then open space up. And because when Ladapo came on and he wasn't doing that, that space wasn't opened up. And then, like you said, and you've rightly made the comment, the whole shape of the team has changed because either Ladapo doesn't know what to do or that's not his game and he can't do it.
Yeah, well,
and that did make a difference.
Yeah, well, if you've noticed, Danny Ward has been playing more on the right recently because maybe someone's been listening to us or they've actually finally realised that Danny Ward is better off on the right-hand side of the field, not through the middle. Now, don't get me wrong, he still comes through the middle quite a fair bit, but his starting position is most of the time over on the right-hand side. That's where he's dangerous. So you allow Marshall to take up the space through the middle. He can come and collect the ball, make a half turn, drop it off, and let someone come into that space.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Ladapo comes on, goes through the middle. Marshall has to go out right where he's not exactly the most comfortable, and he don't prefer to be there. And Ladapo's not making the same runs that Marshall would make through the middle. So you had nothing going into your final third, into your final plays up the pitch, and that's what made it hard for everybody. And then you could see the difference when Radulovic come on, he knows that game. He knows to link up. And he made, within his first touch, did more than what Ladapo did all game.
We put it out to the wing, didn't it? And we immediately had a chance from it. Where I don't think we had a chance, did we? When Ladapo was on the pitch,
not really. I think there was one where Karoma should have squared the ball first time, but decided to hold it up and wait for everyone to come back and defend before I crossed it for Marshall, despite the fact that Marshall was in the box already. And I'll come on to Karoma, but look, not everyone's a fan of Radulovic. I do think he's a tidy player. I think he's got nice soft feet. He's clever with the ball when he needs to do it, but he's a bit soft. We know that he's a bit soft. But he came on today. He held a ball up okay. He brought in other plays. He got to the ball first. He had some nice little touches, but he did 3 touches within space of 3 minutes, more than Ladapo did all game. And I'm thinking, what's going on here? You know, why is Ladapo having to come on first? Okay, Radulovic has come back for a little bit of an injury or whatever it was, but I thought that was a good game for him to gain a bit of confidence as long as he takes what he did, because he did link up well.
Oh, he did.
Now,
yeah.
Yeah, he did. Now, I said I was going to touch on Karoma. I just want him to go round a man.
He can't do it, can he?
He always has to take a touch and bring it back onto the man and take another touch and bring it back on and try and take him on again. Back yourself a little bit, pal, and go round him. Yeah. Just go round him, because when they can, you know, it slows the counter-attack down. It slows the breakdown. I think once he got the ball inside the opposition half today. I think it was the second half. And he's taken a touch to come back on himself. I think it was like a 3-on-4. And by the time he'd taken another 2 touches, Burton Albion had all the players behind the ball.
Yeah, he went to classic Karoma today, where all he wants to do is cut inside and take a shot
on his right foot. Yeah, you can read that. I read that last week.
I read that 4 years ago when he signed.
Defensively, he's worked hard last couple of games because he's not a defensive player. But he has done that over the last 2 games, and he let me down today with his attack. I just thought it was too slow, but they're all too slow. There were no urgency today. The tempo were absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking that first half.
Mark's made the comment here. Thanks, Mark, for getting your comment in. Today's first half lacked urgency. Second half, tweak and much better, but no composure in front of goal. And I did want to bring up this point. 29 shots on goal and 8 on target. I mean, and that's in the second half, because in the first half, we only had, was it 2 shots? One from Ben Wiles, I think, who lashed it and the keeper made a comfortable save, and maybe one that went just wide. So I think we only had 2 shots in the first half. So call it 27 shots in the second half, and only maybe, at 7 on target, Kane. It's not really good enough, is it?
Yeah, but look where they're shooting from. That Burton just went and defended. They just defended, put everything in front of that ball inside that box. You were never going to get a clean shot off. It's about how you get them shots and how you create them opportunities. They had so many corners, and how many of them were poor deliveries?
Oh, how many of them were short corners that actually ended in nothing as well?
Well, this
Like,
is it. This is
we
the thing.
brought Matty Pearson on, and we're taking a short corner. The lad, all the lad wants to do is head a ball.
Yeah,
I didn't get it.
Loves heading ball. Loves heading ball. But this is the thing. It's about what you do with what you've got. When you've got a team who's just defending for their lives, like by the way, I thought Sweeney made an excellent block at one point, just threw his body at the ball. It was fantastic. But they're forcing Huddersfield to shoot from outside the area.
Yeah.
And that's when they're getting the corners, which is fine. But then the corners, they have to be better. They have to be better. You've got to open up. It's hard to open up a team when they sit back and defend. So you've got to do something else. Obviously, that's where the goal came from. So why was that ball not getting crossed more?
I don't know. And even when the ball was crossed, I mean, listen, we've praised Ben Wiles, haven't we, over the last couple of weeks, and he has been absolutely terrific. He's got rid of that caravan, as I think you and particularly Zach have said.
Don't bring me into this. I've not said much about Ben Wiles having a caravan.
All right, just Zach then, who's currently in somewhere across the world, but Lanzarote, I think. But yeah, obviously today, his inconsistency of set pieces just absolutely does made it. I mean, if he takes 3 bad set pieces in a row, which he did today, why ain't somebody like Herbie Kane going, right, Ben, just have a moment, have a break from him, and let me take a few? Why doesn't that happen, Kane?
It's all set. Set pieces are done during the week. This is what you do at the weekend. If someone's out of position at a set piece and it goes wrong, someone's getting a hand into. That's it. You've got your set piece takers. Everyone else knows the job. That's just how it is. That person on the set piece needs to improve. But we know that anyway. Set piece deliveries have been poor all year round.
But we've got one set. I remember when Pilks and Roberts, we had 2 wingers, and both of them could take a free kick from either side, a corner from either side, and if one were having an off day, the other one would go and take their place. I don't understand why somebody like Herbie Kane, I didn't think Herbie had his best game today, but he was terrific at, in the previous couple of fixtures. But surely he can go over and take a corner.
Yeah, but then you're asking Herbie Kane to sprint back. He's not a sprinter.
But you put Ben Wiles in wherever Herbie Kane is on the pitch. You put Ben Wiles, don't you?
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you're putting Herbie Kane further away from the action, you get him around. He needs to be in and around that action on the edge of the area because he can work back and he's not having to do an extra 30-yard sprint from the corner. You need him on the ball, picking out that pass once it comes loose. Also, how many left footers were playing today?
Not many.
Didn't have much of a balance. He's right-footed. There's not much of a balance out there today. So for your set pieces, you are determined on one person, and that's something that will have been spoken about during the week or leading up to the game. So in Wowzer, you'll be taking set pieces, make sure they're good. Unfortunately, they weren't great.
Yeah. As Mark also points out here, Miller is a miss on set pieces because Miller did also take corners and not necessarily free kicks, but he did take a lot of corners and normally put in decent deliveries actually.
No, I thought for as well.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. It's a game of opinions. I didn't think they were any worse than what Ben Wiles was doing today, if I'm honest. On a number of occasions. The midfield didn't quite look right today, Kane. Obviously, it's the same midfield we've played for God knows how many matches now in a row. And you did make the assumption or last time out that when is this sort of midfield going to get tired kind of thing, because they're putting a hell of a lot of work in. We discussed the work ethic of the midfield last time out. I mean, you could see today maybe that game being the breaking point. Yeah, Hodge came on and did look fresh.
Yeah, Kasumo were tired today. you could tell that he were pulling, especially that second half. He looked really tired. Herbie Kane, Wiles, all of them. I thought the majority of the team looked tired as well, to be honest with you, Steve. They weren't getting to the ball first in them little 50-50 challenges. It was Burton who were getting in front, not Huddersfield. And yeah, they did look tired, especially that midfield and wing backs having to work so much. But Kasumu for me looks knackered because he just sprints everywhere, doesn't he? He's Duracell bunny, just
Yeah.
absolutely everywhere all the time and at some pace too. So it doesn't surprise me that he was tired. But that's why they just need some. They need some help in there. Someone else with a bit of legs to do them a favour. So having Hodge back was, just shows his minutes are going to be very limited over the next month or two. But he's certainly going to give at least one of them a breather for a little bit because, they're knackered, them three.
Yeah, they are, and I think that was one good thing about Spencer coming back into the back line and playing all right for a couple of games. Although, even though against Charlton he did give away the penalty, he has added to that back line that we're not just sort of playing the same three all the time at the back. I thought Lonvite played all right against Stockport. I know you're not one of his biggest fans, although today, I mean, what did you make to him as an out and out left back? For me, it didn't really work. He don't look like a natural left back, does he?
No, he's not a left back. No, he's definitely not a left back. Yeah, the shape etc. got very confusing in the second half. But yeah, Longvic is not a left back. That's just be all and end all. I'm really surprised that Spencer didn't come to left back and keep Longvic at left centre half when they did make that change at the back.
Yeah,
I felt as if that would have probably been a suitable answer to what they did. But maybe they expected to go into that back three at times as well and push Turton forward. So you've got that cover, but that's where it got a little bit confusing. Where I felt as if you've got that back four, you would have been able to push more players further forward. But obviously the manager has his way of playing, and he's going to try and stick to that as much as possible. So the formation doesn't really change, but the shape of the formation that he's playing does alter every so often. But he's not left back.
Just a quick word on Burton's time wasting. Just to talk you through, if you weren't at the game, basically what happened from the 20th minute onwards, maybe even before that, the goalkeeper decided to take about 50 seconds on each goal kick. Burton players were going down. Whether they were injured or not, that's up to people's opinion. But the keeper was taking an age definitely on each goal kick, and wasn't booked till the second half. Now in the first half, when Duff sort of argued about this, he was told to go back to his dugout, and then in the second half, the keeper eventually gets booked on the 70th minute. Does carry on doing it, but to not the same extent after he got booked. And then we score from Michael Hellick, great header. Their player gets sent off for a second yellow card, and then Duff gets sent off because he's remonstrated too hard with the match officials. It all got a bit chaotic in the last 20 minutes, Kane, for what seemed like a very boring game for the majority of it.
Yeah, for some reason, Town decided they wanted to play with 10 minutes to go. Why it took so long, don't know, but I take nothing away from Burton. I thought they were good value today. They had a job to do. They did it. It was sit back, counter-attack. By the way, I've not seen many players win as many challenges in the air against Hellick as Burrell did today. About 6 inches smaller than him. He had a real good game up front. And Webster, whether he meant that finish or not, if he meant that, that's an unbelievable finish, by the way. Probably one of the finishes of the season.
Yeah.
But they just dug deep and did exactly what they needed to do. Frustrated Town, sat back, counter-attacked. Burrell won most things up in the air against Hellick for the majority of the game. It was a bit of an handful up there. They were fast out wide. They were direct. So, watching it, if you were a neutral, I'm going, tell you what, go on, Burton. What an effort that is. Obviously, for Town, you go, well, Town, that were awful in the first half. That were really bad. Where are you? And why did it take you till the last 10 minutes to wake up? And if you're a Burton fan, you're going, whoa, what is happening here? We're having a right day out here. And I don't know. I don't feel as if Town deserved the draw today because they were awful for the majority of the game. I thought they were good for the last, as you said, 15, 20 minutes maybe. Whereas Burton were good value for the whole game. Point maybe fair result when you look at Town's domination in terms of the stats for the second half. But they didn't do enough in the first, and that's why obviously for me they never deserved the victory today, and obviously they didn't get it. But Burton were good today. I enjoyed watching Burton.
I didn't enjoy watching Burton, and I have the complete opposite opinion. I thought they were a shocking side who decided to play on the timekeeping element. And fair play, I've not got a problem with that because, like in their position, the bottom of the league, a point away at Huddersfield is a great result for them. It's more than what they expected. We did it in the Championship for years. We would waste time, play on the break, do all that sort of crappy tactics. Probably not the best at doing it, but you remember the Leeds game at the end of last season when Hogg got sent off.
Steve, I'd have done exactly the same thing.
Yeah. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that it was the wrong thing to do. What I'm saying is, from our end, being a top end of the table team, needing to win at home, it was very, very frustrating. But knowing Gary Bowyer and the type of manager that he is, he did it at Bradford City, he's done it everywhere he goes. He just crap houses his way to results, and that's what he did today. But I didn't think Burton were good. I definitely didn't think that they were good. They were good value for the point in the tactics that they used, but they're not a good side.
Oh no, they can't make a pass, but neither could Town.
But that's what I'm saying, though. We dragged our standards down to theirs. They didn't up their standards. They weren't up.
No, they didn't up their standards. They just did exactly what they needed to do, and I appreciated it. I thought it was good. I enjoyed what they wanted to do. You've got to look at it from a Town perspective and go, why haven't you done more? But obviously, no one wanted to in the first half or for the beginning of the second either.
Yeah, comment here from Hoods at 1975. Set pieces were awful from Wales, but ended up getting an assist for the goal. And I suppose, end of the day, Kane, we just talked about Ben Wiles, but, they make a good point there that he did get the assist for the goal. So it's probably another stat that's chalked up on his board for the season.
Yeah, but, like I've already said, the ball should have been put in the box a little bit more than it was, and that's where they get the goal from, putting the ball in the box, but not from a corner because he couldn't deliver out, as Hud said as well. He can't deliver out, but a cross from in play, then yeah, absolutely sound, perfect, absolutely perfect ball.
Looking back on 2024 as a whole, then Kane, obviously, first half of the year was abysmal. Yeah, genuinely, I think we all would rather forget that. Ended up in relegation. Was probably one of the worst Town sides I've seen. I mean, it got to the point, and obviously I'll ask you those three key questions later on, but, some of the performances at the end of last season were disgusting in terms of the effort and we ended up with Brian Wright. It was a car crash of a season. Obviously, everybody remembers the fact that we came into the year with Darren Moore as manager, and it just got worse, didn't it, Kane? The more it went on, it just got worse.
Absolutely shocking. Absolutely shocking. Some decisions that were made were just terrible. Absolutely terrible. But I guess that's one of the things, and it's part and parcel of football. People make mistakes, but it's about rectifying your mistakes and learning from them. And I'm just looking at back, did the club learn from it? Or what have the club learned from it? Because results-wise, yeah, were shocking. The players didn't look like they're interested. They didn't look fit. Didn't look like they wanted to be there. They knew they were in a relegation battle. They didn't want to fight. But that comes from for me, that comes from the top. But sometimes the top gets confused of where is the top? Is that coming from the chairman, or is that coming from the manager?
Yeah.
So you've got to find that balance of which one actually is it coming from, because the chairman is doing everything he can for the club.
Yeah.
New bar, academy back open, new academy facilities, putting his money where the mouth is. Signed players last January, already signed a player for this January. Did stuff in the summer. So the way the club's running is the right thing, but the top side of the playing staff, for some reason, was wrong a good few times, and that's disappointing. And that's like I already mentioned a good few times on here, and I will continue to mention a good few times on here. Fans want something to cheer about. They want to be entertained. Okay, that is everything. If you're not going to get that, but if you're going to get people who are going to work hard for you, that's fine. They don't have to go out and win everything, but if they'll go out there, work hard, run themselves into the ground, you'll get 17,000 fans out there clapping them, going, "Yeah, you know what? They've worked hard. Appreciate that, because I'm paying my money to be here. Blah 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 blah. Weren't great today, but you have worked hard." And at times, didn't even get that.
Will the end of last season be always remembered for, well, probably a number of things, but particularly, bad perceived attitudes of players, whether it's Sober Thomas, Jack Redoni, or Bergzorg. Delano Bergzorg obviously was on loan from last season. Thank God we didn't buy him. And obviously Brian Wright's comments pretty much after nearly every single game. I mean, that's what the back end, to me, the 2023-24 season will, a lot of it, be remembered for those last couple of months.
No, not for me. I look at it all. I thought to bring Neil Warnock back in was a good decision.
Well, that was in 2023.
Yeah,
He
but
didn't get.
you're saying for the season here. So bear with me. Bear with me. So I would have stuck with him anyway until at least December, the end of December. And I've announced a new manager in December and saying he's going to take over in January so he can get his players and get a feel for it. So this is where the downfall comes. Letting Warnock go in September and appointing Darren Moore.
Yeah.
Why?
And Darren Moore should have never been appointed.
Not for me. Not for me. I wouldn't have seen that. But then you come into 2024. See where I'm going here. Come into 2024. He has the opportunity to bring some players in. I don't think any of them players were his players. I don't think any of them players that were there wanted to play for him.
Just to remind people, the players that came in were Radulovic, Healy, Spencer came back from Motherwell. Was there anybody else?
Can't think off the top of my head, mate. But you damage for 20. Yeah, your damage for 2024 was already done.
Yeah.
With how poor Town was up to 2024 under Darren Moore, because under Warnock they were mid-table.
Yeah.
Darren Moore comes in and it's awful. Players don't know what they're doing. Darren Moore don't know what's going on. He's playing the same formation that Warnock were playing and not for best. They didn't look interested. He bored me to tears in his press conferences. I'm sure he's a lovely bloke, but talk a glass eye to sleep. And everything's a little bit too late because they left him in charge for too long. No wonder players have got bad attitudes when Brykenwrighton gets there, because no one wants to make the club with the way it's been going. But there was a spark. There was a spark in there, Steve. My best performance comes up in that little bit of a spark. I don't know if you want to go into it yet, but we can wait. And then obviously Brykenwrighton's there, and it's he's done this and that in whatever country, but he can't get out with the players here. So are you actually that good, or is it a little bit too late? definitely a little bit too late for me. Pointless bringing him in. Should have just kept with John Worthington, who were fantastic. Loves the club, knows what the club's about. He'd have been perfect to the end of the season, and then make a decision to bring Michael Duff in. Absolutely sound. Well, saying that, they wanted Michael Duff earlier, but he didn't want to come. But then he now wanted to come. So is that another decision that you look back and go, is this now the right decision? You didn't want to come earlier on, but now you're here because you didn't want to have a relegation on your CV, but now you're happy to try and take them back up. Can't read too much into it. If you do, you'll be up all night. They've managed to keep hold of some good players. They managed to bring some other good players. I thought pre-season, in terms of transfers, was good. Pre-season itself was all right, was pretty good, scoring goals. Start of the season, fantastic. Had an awful blip where Town obviously was shown how vulnerable they are. Had that awful blip, and then Buff being on an unbeaten run. Unfortunately, out with the cup. Well, yeah, out of all the cups, which is pretty embarrassing. But, they've now got the league to focus on, and they've got to make the most out of it. So it started very, 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 very poorly, and it's ending okay.
So on a scale of your grading system from A to F, where are we putting the 2024 calendar year?
Well, it's either a C- or a D+, isn't it?
I would say a C-. I think how you summed it up, it's started very, very poor and ended okay. Now, what can okay turn into for 2025? That is the thing. But before we come on to 2025, I will ask you those three key questions. Who was the worst performance of the season for you? I've got who I think, but you can go first.
Well, I've got my best performance, but worst performance, maybe Preston.
Okay.
Preston away.
Yeah, that was pretty shocking.
No, Swansea at home.
And Swansea at home is mine as well. 4-0.
Swansea at home was absolutely abysmal.
It's after that game, it stank of relegation. To me, it was over. I came out of the game and I was like, it's finished. It's done.
Yeah, absolutely grim. Proper. Swansea are a great side. They're okay. They're an average championship squad now, but
in fact,
the players didn't look interested, mate.
No. I mean, I've never. I'm sure that was the game where. Sober Thomas had an argument with somebody in the stands, or something happened. I can't remember. One of the players had an argument with somebody in the stands. Might not have been Sober. It might have been somebody else, but it could have been Bergzall, to be fair. I don't know about you, but you get atmospheres after games, and that's probably the most depressed atmosphere I've ever seen at the ground.
Yeah, it was up there, mate. Absolutely up there. Shocking. That and the loss to Tamworth is nearly a par. But I think because Town are doing well with other things, Tamworth ain't as bad as Swansea, but that one...
Tamworth's a one-off embarrassment. Swansea was a disgraceful performance by players that should know better, to me.
Yeah. Okay.
And I will lump onto the Swansea game, the Coventry game afterwards as well. But we didn't lose as bad to Coventry, which was amazing, actually.
Well, I think you asked what the best performance was, and that's what's hard to find, Steve. That's the real question, and that says it all.
Well, I've got one for you. Right? The best performance of 2024.
I've got one.
Is Peterborough on the opening day, because it set the standard of what we should be doing this season. All right, Peterborough have not been great this season. Fair enough. That is a fair comment. Nobody knew how Peterborough would do on the opening day. I had them in the top 6. I thought they'd be a top 6 side this season. Turns out we're definitely not going to be. But to go to Peterborough, one of our, let's say, known rivals, on the opening day and beat them 2-0, and beat them convincingly, bar that one chance that quick lad had up top. I thought was a superb opening display.
I see your point. Do you want to know mine?
Yep.
Huddersfield Town 4, Sheff Wednesday 0.
Yeah.
Do you know who was in charge?
Darren Moore.
Nope.
Or Worthington won it.
Jonathan Worthington. I think he just got a couple of draws, and then he got an absolute superb victory against Sheff Wednesday. And when everything looked like Town were going down, before that, he came in, stepped up, did that job. Town played out of their absolute skin. They were absolutely awesome. I watched that game and I thought, Town could beat anyone in this league.
Yeah.
And then they got Brighton Riker and it all went downhill again. It gave us that game just gave hope to everybody that actually we might be all right if Worthy stays in charge for the rest of this. We'll be absolutely sound. He's doing a cracking job. He's doing a great job. And then Brighton Riker came and it all just went to pot again.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. I think in the context of new beginnings and everything that's happening this season, I do think the Peterborough performance is more meaningful because I thought we were going to go down even with Worthy winning. But I do take your point that after the game, people did think, well, if we continue with Worthy, we might stay up. And I agree with you as well that I would have preferred Jonathan to keep the job. Realistically, we'd have had some hell of a scorelines. The game at Southampton proves that where won it 5-3 that we lost or something.
Yeah, and Town were winning.
But
Town were winning at a club that just been promoted to the Premier League. He gave everybody hope, and it was a very easy way of playing football, and it looked good. It looked good. The fans were enjoying it, the players were enjoying it, and then that decision to bring Brighton Riker in was a poor one. I get what you mean by Peterborough. It was an okay performance, but in terms of performance-wise, I don't think it was as good. Results-wise, equally as good. Performance-wise, I enjoyed that game watching it. I enjoyed commentating on that game.
Yeah, and that's something that you haven't been able to say over the last couple of years. Hoods 1975, I think he means going back to the Swans game. Those players just didn't have bad attitudes. Just when Moore was in charge, I'd imagine Sorba would be a challenge at any club. 2 successful loan moves, and then unsuccessful. Sorry, and then Blue Teddy 19. Thanks as ever for joining us. Swans at home was not a 4-0 game, but the mindset of the squad that day was Sunday League level. Does he mean that it could have been more than 4? I'm sure it was 4-0, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 4-0. It was like,
but it could have been 8. It could have been 8.
Or it could have been 1.
It could have been 1. Yeah.
But I think that the performance level from Town and the mindset was like, oh well, we're not right bothered, so whatever happens, happens. And a game where Town could have actually been in it against Swansea, it just went completely the opposite way.
TTV Dark, who joined us also, he put best performance was Bolton away when we won 4-0. Good victory. I wouldn't say it's the best performance of 2024, but I get what you mean. It's up there. It's up there.
Yeah, it's up there for me, mate. Yeah, definitely up there for me to go and score 4 goals against them at their ground was fantastic, and I guess that at the point Town needed a victory, and they got it. They got exactly what they needed. It was the right time. Was that Bolton game?
Most improved player, they've also given an answer for this, and Kasumu, and I would agree with that. He would be my most improved player of 2024, and probably, I mean, he's also put Helic as the best player of 2024, but I would say Kasumu's probably up there for being the best player as well. I don't know what you think, Ken.
Yeah. Look, Kasumu, for me, there's always been a player in there. Always been some good quality. He's just never really had the chance or was asked to do different stuff. And now he's got a bit of freedom to go forward as well, but so much energy, breaks up play very well, can take that ball forward. In terms of improvement, he got his new deal and he deserves it. He's been absolutely fantastic for Town this year.
Yeah,
it really has been brilliant. And Hellick, I totally agree. Hellick was superb for Town in the Championship, despite how bad everybody else was. He popped up with goals when he needed to. Pearson as well. Again, another defender having to pop up with goals for them. You look into this year, I don't think Pearson's played as much as he should have done, in my opinion. Otherwise, he'd probably be my best player. Hellick has dropped a little bit, but he's still doing all the right things. He's that heart of that defence and wins the majority of things up in the air. And he's strong, he's physical. Spencer were great when he came back in the Championship in January.
I do want to give out a... Sorry, carry on.
It's all right. He's lost his way a bit this year, I think, because of the interest. But he obviously got his new contract, and now he's put his head back down. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else, throughout 2024 who's been ever present. Tom Lees has been ever present throughout the year. But apart from that, there's not really anybody else who's been a consistent performer throughout the year.
No, I mean, I do want to give a shout out to young Chapman in goal. I think he's been really, really good since he's come into the side. And for me, it moves me nicely onto the transfer window, Kane, that I want to touch on. I don't think, if we sold, everybody said at the start, says, no, I don't want to sell Lee Nichols. He's number one. Don't want to sell. If Lee Nichols was sold this January, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I genuinely wouldn't. Because I think I don't see why Chapman just can't stay in there, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, it's his place to lose. I mean, I wouldn't want to sell Lee Nichols, I'll be honest with you, but it's his place to lose. So, I think we said this a few years ago, when you talk about goalkeepers, it's a very hard spot to take. It's a very hard spot to keep. But if you're doing well, you'll keep it. And it is yours to lose, and Lee Nichols will be ready to step into that position once he's back. And I don't think he'll step straight into it at all. I think Chapman has to make some big mistakes for that to change, or he might get sold. He might go elsewhere. That could easily happen as well, because his performances have been good. Made a great save again today. Made a great save against Stockport to keep Town in the game. So, he's picking out them saves at crucial times, keeping his concentration, and his distribution is good. So he's showing all the qualities. But as I say, you have to keep that place. When you're picked, you keep that place. And at the moment, he's doing enough. And Lee Nichols will come back fit, but at the minute, Nichols isn't getting in the squad because Chapman's doing a good enough job.
But if we sell Nichols for whatever we could sell him for, and buy in a position, say a midfielder, of a good quality, or you put that money towards a very, a decent striker, I've got no problem with that, because I now can trust the young keeper that we've got from our own academy. And Maxwell, I don't think it's a terrible keeper either to have as a backup. He'll always be number two, but I don't think I think Maxwell's probably happy being number two by the looks of it.
He's more of a number three now, mate.
But at the moment he's not, because obviously, he's still on the bench, isn't he?
If they're all fit, it'd be a number three. And I generally do think he would be a number three if they're all fit. But I know what you're saying about if Lee Nichols was to go, if we're to get something for him, but that just ain't going to happen. I don't see Lee Nichols going anywhere. To be honest with you, mate. And yeah, as Blue Terrier said, I've said Chapman's giving no reason to drop him, and he won't be dropped.
Yeah. Moving on to, by the way, this was quite funny what they've just put. We're really bad at signing strikers, but very good at signing free scoring defenders. That's quite true. That and Town have always had a knack of signing people that shouldn't score goals, but seemingly do. Which has got Joe Lynch going back a few years. He's very good at scoring goals.
Oh, some right overhead kicks, that kid.
Very good at scoring goals. Looking forward, there are obviously rumours. You'll be aware, Kane, you work in the press box every week at Town. I come across rumours. I know sounds like Joe Taylor might be a done thing from Luton. didn't get on the pitch again today, was on Luton's bench. You know, we were after him in the summer. We couldn't get him because Luton wanted the replacement. I'm sure that's probably still the case. But I just want to get it over the line. Obviously, we've signed this new left back from Eredivisie called Ruben Russen. He was introduced to the crowd today, although nobody could really hear what he said. Bless him, because the speakers they're not the best. But from the highlights, seems a quick 6 foot tall left back, left wing back. Seems to get good crosses into the box. Played 88 times in the Eredivisie for Hercules, and seems a good prospect.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be, mate. Everyone looks good on the highlights because the highlights. You remember Jason Davidson?
Oh yes,
Yeah, looked great on highlights.
And Bems is the best highlights video I've ever seen, and yet he's one of the worst players I've ever seen.
Bems are all right Championship, but yeah,
he won. Don't even start me on that. I'll fight you on
it. Look, highlights, you look great. Go do it on the pitch. Yeah, he's 24. He's bright. Yeah, gets crosses in. Played plenty of games in the top division over here in Holland. Come and show us what you're worth. You know, I'm not going to judge anyone until I've seen him play.
Yeah,
but you know, he's in a position that we needed because obviously Miller's injured and Headley's awful, so it's exactly what Town needed on that left hand side.
Yeah, well, it sounds like Headley might be going to Bristol Rovers for either a loan or a fee.
If you're taking a fee, I'll drive him. I won't even claim expenses.
Bristol Rovers do seem to be the one that's linked with him, and so I presume that has plus Miller's injury has probably speeded up the need for this recruitment. Just going back to Joe Taylor, I mean, have you any knowledge of this being any closer, or do you think he's going to get over the line in January? The one thing I suppose we don't want it to happen is it go rumbling on all month and then not happen again.
Yeah. Look, no one tells me anything, mate. So I'm just hearing what you're hearing, and obviously the club wanted to get it done in the summer. Didn't happen. Most of the time, if a club wants to get something done in the summer, but it doesn't happen, it normally happens in January. You know, the kid that's just been signed, he said it in his interview today at half time. They wanted to try and get it done in the summer, didn't happen, so they've come back, spoke again, got it done January. Let's hope it's the same for Joe Taylor. You know,
what's your opinion of him as a player? What do you think he could be the one that, you know, it seems like we're all desperate to have him in. I mean, you know, some people are probably saying, well, is he even that good? You know, well, he's probably the best out there that we could get as a League One club.
I've no opinion on him yet, mate. I'll be completely honest with you. I won't beat around the bush. I'm not seeing him play enough. I've not seen him play enough to go, yeah, he's a good player, or no, he's poor, because he's not playing. And again, if the player isn't playing, it says a lot. Okay, yeah, he's at Luton, and Luton aren't doing great, and you know they've spent money on players, and obviously wages have gone up for Luton when they went into the Premier League. But you know, a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, he's a great player," but I've heard other people say to other players, "Oh yeah, they're a great player," and they've turned up and they've been crap.
Yeah,
you know, oh, Ladapo was a great player; he scored loads of goals in League One. It's crap. So I'm not going to judge a player unless I've seen them play properly. And I'd seen Ladapo play properly before, and I didn't rate him, and I still don't rate him. So I've not seen enough of Joe Taylor. I'll be completely honest with you, Steve, to say yeah, he's going to come in and do a great job. I've not seen anything of Callum Marshall, but I have seen stuff of Callum Marshall now, and I go, yeah, he's a good player. Is he going to be Premier League? Maybe not. Championship? I think so. I look at Joe Hodge. I've only seen him play a couple of games. Quality. He will play in the Premier League. You just sometimes you just know with these players of what they're about. Longvic, League One. It's once you've seen enough of them, you'll give your opinion. But at the moment, I don't have enough of an opinion of him. I hope if that's what the club want, they get him, and I hope he improves the squad.
So what do you want to see in January then? What is your wish list, and what do you think realistically will happen?
Yeah, it's a good question. Realistically, I think there'll be 2 or 3. Obviously, we've got 1.
Yeah,
There will be a striker, guaranteed. There'll be a striker because everyone wants one. I think there may be. Then there'll either be a striker or a central midfielder. Defence is sorted. Yeah, defence is
yeah,
sorted for me. I'm fairly happy with defence. I don't think anything needs to be done there. But Town need to get rid of a few players to make that happen.
yeah,
Obviously you mentioned about Headley going out. Yeah, if you can get a fee for get rid of him. You keep Ruffles to the end of the season because it's his last year again. So, he didn't really put a foot wrong when I'd seen him play recently. Turton's doing an okay job on the right hand side. You've got Sorensen coming back. Spencer can do that wing back role.
yeah.
Barker's nearly back, so you've got that back line covered as well. You don't really need to touch anything there apart from getting rid of players that you don't need, such as Headley because he's poor. Hellick, there's talk of if Hellick might leave, but now he's got to January. I'm sure he'll try and finish the season off. But if he goes, they'll probably look to bring in another defender as well. But midfield is where they're struggling. They need some more legs in there with their injuries that they've got. That might be another permanent player. It'd be a lot to ask from the chairman, but definitely a striker is needed.
Like I say, the people out on loan at the moment, such as Keane Harrott, Carl Hudlin, they're all on loan at the moment. I mean, you try and maybe end the loans and get rid of them if you're good, but it's easier said than done, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not going to happen during the season unless someone's really interested, and I can't imagine anyone being really interested in Kyle Hudlin, if I'm honest with you. Kyle Harris got a bit of a beauty a couple of days ago, but he's a bit of an idiot, isn't he? So I like the kid. I think he's actually a decent striker. I think he'll be good for a League One side because he works hard. He's quite physical. He just needs to grow up a little bit, but he will be a good player for a club in League One, definitely League Two as well. But you aren't taking them away from a club midway through the season for someone to sign him. It just doesn't happen. If a player's out on loan and the club's interested, they'll let them finish the season off and then get them.
Yeah,
because there's a lot of fees we're having to recall them, etc.
Moving on then to 2025. Obviously, it will come to the new year. We play Wigan Athletic on New Year's Day. If anybody remembers, we played Wigan on New Year's Day a couple of seasons ago. More than a couple of seasons ago, actually. And it was the day that James Vaughan wore the mask and wouldn't head a ball in the warm-up because he didn't want to break it. So, yeah, I remember that. I'm sure we won that game 1-0. I'm absolutely positive we won that game 1-0. But I just remember it as the game that James Vaughan just refused to head a ball in the warm-up because he was scared that the mask was going to get injured, broken. So obviously we're going to Wigan. We've seen Wigan play. We beat them recently. A half decent side, Kane. I know, when we talked after the game, they were sort of, you could tell that there was something there, but they weren't sort of up to speed. They didn't create a lot of chances. They knocked it from side to side. Yeah,
they don't go forward. They're a good side. But they just don't go forward. They haven't conceded a lot of goals. They haven't scored a lot of goals. If they went forward, they'd be a different animal. But for some reason, they don't go forward. They're so happy to keep it around the back and just pass sideways and a little bit forward and backwards and sideways and sideways and sideways. If they penetrated a team, they'd be actually pretty decent and up in the playoffs. But they don't. They've scored 20 goals. They've conceded 18. That says it all. Go forward with your team, Sean Maloney. If they did, they would be dangerous. Otherwise, they'll just keep losing 1-0 or winning 1-0, and it's boring. And I thought they actually played some decent football when they came to Town, but they never deserved anything out of the game because they never went into Town's half.
Do you are you thinking positively then going into Wednesday?
Always thinking positive. Steve.
But you think that we can go there and get a win, yeah?
Yeah, I think Town can go there and get a win because I've seen the way we can play and it's just passive. And if Town played like they did in the last 20 minutes today for the whole game against Wigan, then yeah, they'll get something out of the game. But Town have to go and play like they did for the last 20 minutes today for the whole game. They can't just do it for 20 minutes, end of a game, and hope for the best. It has to be a consistent performance throughout the 90 minutes. And again, I'm kind of not seeing that. I want a bit more of it. I want a bit, tempo needs to be good. It needs to be quick, 5, 6 touches on the ball. Stop that. 1 touch, 2 touch, pass, move, go forward. It's basic football, is that. And look, I totally get sometimes you need to relax and wait for play to open up. But if a team's just defending and just sitting there, you taking 5 or 6 touches on the ball does not help.
And then after Wigan away, we've got Rotherham at home. We may or may not be back on before that, but if we aren't, just a quick one on Rotherham. Obviously, Steve Evans not doing well at Rotherham so far. Bit of a big surprise. Everybody had them to be at least in the top 4, I think, at the start of the season, or definitely in the top 6. I mean, it's at home. We've got to go win it, haven't we?
I have to. It's a home game, mate. I have to go and win every game. And the fact that they lost to them earlier on in the season should give motivation to go and beat them at home. So what do you expect from a Steve Evans side? Could be anything, mate, but Town need to go and win that game. They've got to go and win this game against Wigan first. That's the be-all and end-all of it. They have to go and win that game. If they get a draw, they'll probably be disappointed. I should be disappointed. I want to go there and win. If they lose, they should be extremely disappointed after the performance today, and if they go in there and lose. But home games, you have to win your home games, and if you can pick up a point or a win away, you'll do all right.
Just a quick comment from SUVRL. Is the new left back allowed to train with the team yet? Yeah,
technically no.
Okay, you know the rules better than me.
Technically no, because it has to go through on the first. But
he might just be there watching the team at Canal Side, and
I'm sure they'll be training.
He's just accidentally kicked the ball while he's having a slight cup of tea on the side, isn't he? That's what it is, yeah. But obviously it will go through on the 1st of January. He was there today at the game. He's clearly not playing at the moment for his side in Holland, the Netherlands, and so we'll see him I won't be surprised if we didn't see him against either Wigan or Rotherham, to be honest. Probably not Wigan, but Rotherham definitely.
Yeah, Rotherham definitely. It depends on when you can register the player. So obviously, if you've got to wait for the first for the actual transfer to go through, you register him on the 1st. I can't imagine being able to register him the day before. But
no,
we could be completely wrong, so we'll just have to wait and see.
We'll see. Lastly, then, Kane, hopes for 2025. What do you want to see in 2024? What will you be on New Year's Eve, strike of 12, be wishing for from a Town perspective?
Oh, right, from a Town perspective.
Yeah, not live perspective, but we all know that you would love to be at the Darts World Championship in 2025, but final.
I'd love to be playing there. Promotion. Simple as promotion.
That's going to be one of them Thug Dad videos, isn't it? I can smell promotion.
Look, that's what it needs to be. And I don't want to go up by coming 1st or 2nd. I want to do it the Huddersfield Town way. By going to Wembley and winning on penalties, because that's just what Town do.
I can't. No. We don't.
That's what Town do, though, Steve.
I know, but we don't want
no
it.
Other way to do it.
There is. By not ending the season on 81 points and having to go through 2 heartbreaking, wrecking playoff semi-finals, and then go to Wembley, draw 0-0, and go through on penalties. No,
but that's what Town do. That's what Town do.
Yes, but surely that's not what you're hoping.
Yeah, it is. I hope that's what happens.
well, what we might do is we might put one of them stress heart monitors on both of us for the playoffs if we get there. But let's hope it is an automatic spot.
I'll be relaxed. I know what's going to happen. I know we'll get to.
You will not be relaxed.
Final and win.
Right, well, obviously it's been fantastic. Thank you very much. I'd just like to end the show by saying thanks to everybody who's commented, liked and shared the videos over 2024, me, Kane, and the rest of the the lads really do appreciate it. Whether you're a watcher of this show, any of the other content that we have on the channel, the Leeds United shows, the round tables that we do on Monday, which we will be back tomorrow, doing a round table to end the 2024 on. But yeah, really do appreciate everybody's comment. All the comments tonight, it's been really good. Even my lovely girlfriend who says it up the Reds because she's a Barnsley fan. Thanks, Becky.
Your other girlfriend. How many girlfriends you got?
No, what are you on about? My girlfriend.
You said your other girlfriend.
No, I didn't say other at all.
Listen back. That's what you said.
That's not what I said. Shut up.
It is. That's what you
Right.
said. You said.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all the
Go
comments.
on, Steve.
Thank you very much to all the
You're
comments.
going to be in trouble.
And right, okay. Thank you to all the comments, and we'll see you very, very soon. So, from me, Kane, and the other West Yorkshire Football Show lads,
Definitely said
very, very happy New Year. Thank you. Goodbye.